Welcome to my masterclass, 3 Steps to Relationship Success for Men. In this masterclass, you're going to find out how you can save your marriage and create a satisfying relationship with a woman. Save your marriage and be treated like a king by her. The proven method any man can apply to create a healthy, loving, and lasting relationship with a woman, even if you're single, separated, or on the brink of divorce. If you're new to my content or you've just come across me, let me introduce myself and my background briefly with you and what led me to discovering how these 3 steps actually work and why they're so effective. So my name is Sasha Fedorovsky. I'm a men's relationship and intimacy coach and the creator of the Mind Heart Method. The Mind Heart Method is the leading program for men to save your marriage in 90 days or less. I'm also the host of the Mind Heart Method podcast, which you can check out on my website or Google online. There's a lot of great resources and interviews you can watch there. So my background is working with leading men's health experts in the medical and mental health space. I've coached hundreds of men through this process. And what I've discovered is that a loving, intimate relationship is strongly correlated to a man's physical and mental health, happiness, longevity, success out in the world. For generations, women have taken responsibility for love and relationships, but unfortunately, this is failing and it's resulting in higher divorce rates, lower birth rates, and decreased levels of happiness. This is why I'm so appreciative of the men that come to this masterclass, that follow my content, and of course, work with me in the Mind Heart Method to save their marriage and create a healthy, loving relationship. As a man, you're the natural leader in the relationship dynamic with a woman. This is why when you shift your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, you actually have the power to completely transform your relationship for the better. This is why I'm so appreciative of men just like you that take the initiative to do this. Because as you can see, a woman's role to lead the relationship has been failing. And this is what you've probably experienced, whether you know this logically or not in your current situation. So when you do this as a man, it creates a lasting change, which happens on a hormonal, biological, and nervous system level. And this is the kind of shift that occurs when you work with me in the Mind Heart Method. And it's the kind of shift I guarantee when you know and when you apply in your life the 3 steps to relationship success for men. I've also been featured in the media on the work that I've done with the Mind Heart Method. You can see I've been featured in a few business-related journals and articles, both in Australia and internationally. This is because I work with a lot of business owners and business leaders. And often when you are a leader out in the world, it doesn't necessarily mean that you apply the same skills or you are in your leadership within your relationship. If you want to check out some of these articles, you can head to my website or simply Google them online and they should come up on the first page. So a little bit more about my method and where it's come from. Although I have worked with doctors and psychologists and leading men's health experts to develop the Mind Heart Method and the results and all the tools I'm going to share with you today, my real method and real results that occur in my clients have come from practical experience, working with hundreds of men and talking to hundreds of men about their relationship issues. And these are some of the most frequently asked questions from men and answers that you're going to receive today in this masterclass. So how do I get more respect and intimacy from my wife? I don't understand what she wants from me. How can I make her happy and reduce conflict? How can I save my marriage and avoid divorce and reconcile? I want to tell you that these are very common questions. And whatever you're going through in your relationship situation, you're not alone. These are cases I've seen many times over, and many men are experiencing it now. So if you're going through this, know that you're not alone, but also there is a solution. I also want to tell you that your relationship isn't broken. You're just missing information. No matter how hopeless your relationship or personal situation feels, you have the power to transform it. The truth is, men are getting a very confusing narrative right now. So it's no wonder you're feeling lost in your relationship situation. It's my intention here to empower men with the tools to save your marriage, create a satisfying relationship, and avoid divorce, so that you have the knowledge and power to transform your relationship, positively influencing your life and the people you love. And on a deep level, my work is so rewarding because it not only helps men to save their marriage, to create a satisfying relationship, but it heals families. And the work you do here, even just listening to this masterclass, you will positively influence your children and their relationship for generations to come. As an example of this, I want to share with you some of my client case studies. You can see the full case studies on my website. I work with men just like you from all different walks of life. A few examples here. Dean, a 48-year-old business owner who was on the brink of divorce. He was living separately to his wife of 20 years, and she had already filed for divorce. He had risked losing his business that he had with her, his relationship with his 3 kids, and of course, the love of his life. So we worked with Dean on his volatile childhood to manage his mood, to manage his stress. Even though he was living separately to his wife, she energetically, emotionally, and hormonally, because this is the true level of change that needs to occur, she felt that. And this allowed for her to engage with him again, to connect with him, and for them to have the time and space to actually reconcile. This was also very transformative for his business that was struggling because of the high turnover. Not only were his moods affecting his relationship with his wife, his kids, but also his employees. So this really started to smooth out. I'm happy to say that Dean is back in the family home. Their relationship is better than when they first met. This is completely possible because the love does not die. It's just that we often don't have the tools or the know-how on how to reconcile. A few other examples was Lloyd, 43, a senior manager, and Joseph was a younger case study. He was 34 years old. His fiance had broken up with him after 7 years, and this actually caused performance issues in the bedroom for him, both mentally and physically. And we worked to overcome panic attacks that actually started from a car accident he was in. Once his nervous system was back in calm or parasympathetic mode, where he wasn't having these panic attacks, then he started to realize that his relationship with his fiance wasn't right in the first place. They had stayed together for safety, and she had done him the favor of ending the relationship. During our time together, Joseph met a new woman, and for him, this felt like real love. He's now in a happy relationship. He's got his confidence back. He overcame his performance issues in the bedroom. And also, as a pleasant byproduct, he received a promotion at work without even applying for one. This is very common when men work with me in the Mind Heart method. His boss actually noticed that the way he dealt with clients and their feedback was completely different. And, you know, when you work on your relationship and your emotions that potentially have been suppressed for years, is you free up so much room in your nervous system. You free up so much energy that's spent on suppression and stress. And you have so much more natural energy to be effective in the workplace, in your business. So the men that work with me tend to achieve external success in their work by doing less versus doing more. These are a few of my recent clients. Dustin was a sales manager. He was actually suffering with depression. He got off medication during the process. He improved his health, and he got back his intimacy and connection in his marriage. He was becoming disillusioned with the 7-year marriage, with a lack of physical intimacy. But I am pleased to say that his wife initiates frequently. She desires him, and they've got their spark back. I really want to say that my clients are my heroes. When men do this work, they completely transform within themselves. They go from stressed out, burnt out, to present, happy. That was particularly noticed with Christian. He was a director of a senior level. His employees and his senior managers noticed that his happiness level changed. He went to maybe a bit of a serious, grumpy old man to a man that was vibrant. He was engaged, and this produced a better result in his team. But essentially, Christian came to me because his wife of 13 years presented him with an ultimatum. Things change or there'd be a divorce in 6 months. I'm happy to say that Christian and his wife are still together, and they've reignited the spark. Elliot was an ambitious CEO, and he was wanting to grow his business internationally, but he noticed that it was at the expense of losing his family, his wife and young family. During the process, Elliot actually, like a lot of successful men, was diagnosed with ADHD. Right. So it doesn't matter what medication you're on. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life or where you're at or how dire the situation is. It's never too late. You can always save your marriage. We worked with a number of nervous system tools to help Elliot become more present and restructure his work, not from a work perspective, but from an energy, mind management perspective to work around his lifestyle. It was the first time in many, many years, or the first time ever, that he was able to go on a holiday with his wife without letting work get in the way, without being distracted by his phone. And this was the point that allowed his wife to trust him again, to believe that, her husband was actually capable of change. So really, when you do this work, you become my biggest hero. So before we get into the 3 steps, let's go through the archetypes of men that sabotage love. And essentially, this will start to answer the question for you why you're not getting the response you want from your wife. I've compiled these archetypes from the men that I most commonly see and the men I commonly work with. This isn't a fixed personality. It's just behaviors you're buying into. So the first archetype, which is the most common one that I work with, is Mr. Wife Pleaser. His characteristics is that he's a people pleaser, he's a wife pleaser, he seeks approval, he has difficulty making hard decisions. He looks to others for answers, for decisions, for boundaries, because he doesn't trust himself. He's passive and also quite avoidant. So the response he gets from his wife is a lack of interest in sex, a lack of respect. She can become controlling, smothering, angry, jealous, nagging, and demanding. She becomes more like his mother than a lover. The core issue is in this dynamic that it doesn't create enough sexual polarity in the relationship. She doesn't feel the strength and safety of your boundaries if you're buying into this archetype. She compensates for a lack of trust in you by becoming more masculine, so she will feel more dominating, and this will cause you to avoid her more and more. The second type of archetype that I work with frequently is Mr. Workaholic. So his characteristics are that he's a workaholic, and it's not because he has a big vision, a true mission, or because he's doing this out of service. Usually when a man is a workaholic, it's an addiction, similar to alcohol, similar to drugs, and it's in order to avoid painful emotions, because essentially Mr. Workaholic has a fear of emotional intimacy. He never has enough time, he has the potential to stray, and he needs to be in control. Eventually, he needs to let loose because what goes up must come down. It's like a pendulum swinging, or, a yo-yo dieter. When they suppress their calories completely, eventually they're going to binge. So Mr. Workaholic tends to go up and down, right, in terms of his business and his finances as well. This archetype is also avoidance. Her response. So if you are showing behaviors of the workaholic, you'll find that your wife will withhold sex from you. She becomes needy, she complains, she may be irresponsible, she may become depressed, she's overindulgent, spending, eating, and she, this is quite common now, she may acquire a drinking habit. She feels more like a daughter than a wife. So the core issue here is that the dynamic doesn't create space or safety for emotional connection or for the feminine to be expressed. This can cause her to become demanding, dependent, and unappreciative, and eventually she will disconnect or check out. Finally, in the archetypes that sabotage love is Mr. Sabotage. I work with this archetype the least frequently, and you'll find out why as I go through him. So it's likely that he is divorced or at least a long-term bachelor. He's very interested in women, but then loses interest very quickly. And, this might seem like he's too picky or he just can't seem to find the one. But what's actually happening is that his nervous system, whenever intimacy is near or he becomes a little bit too emotionally intimate, his nervous system is signaling danger. It's getting into fight or flight, and it sends a signal to his brain that there's something wrong with the woman, that he doesn't like her. So it's not that he loses interest from the heart. It's actually the mind, based on past experiences, trying to protect him from getting hurt. And this is why he just can't seem to find the one, even, if he's the world's greatest bachelor. So this is usually a man who's been single for more than 2 years. And he's experienced a heartbreak and deeply afraid to get hurt, and thus why he is staying single or just having, flings with women or one-night stands. This archetype is also avoidance. And now you've probably noticed that this is the common denominator between men that sabotage love, and that is avoidance. Avoidance is the #1 killer of relationships. I want to tell you as a man, this is not your fault. This is how you're biologically orientated. This served you, this avoidance of painful emotions served you when you were a hunter back in the hunter-gatherer days and when you are on the battlefield. And really, we're living in the first or second generation of men who don't have to hunt, don't have to do physical work out in the world and don't have to go into battle or war. And so this really helps you to go and get the job done, to keep going. But it hinders you within your relationship with a woman, because if you're avoiding the emotional pain because it's too difficult or because you can't solve the problem, what happens is you miss the signs. Okay. And this is something women are very sensitive to. And so if you're avoiding the signs, you're unable to solve the problem. You're unable to fix things. You're unable to catch them before she calls divorce. And unfortunately for most men, when a woman calls divorce or when she leaves you, this is when you'll get into action. Okay. So I want you to notice, are there any warning signs right now? So back to Mr. Sabotage, the response he gets from women is that he attracts superficial women and connections. Relationships don't stick. They lack depth. There's always conflict, there's drama, and there's often betrayal. There are trust issues from her, from you, and relationships are basically transactional. He feels used, she feels used. They're very surface level relationships. The core issue is that the dynamic holds a negative or detached view towards the feminine and keeps intimacy at a distance. By attracting women with who drama, betrayal, feeling of being used is present, love and emotional intimacy feels dangerous. for Mr. Sabotage. This is because he's been hurt in the past and it was so painful. So the final archetype is the authentic husband leader. This is the archetype that every man can step into. And this is the archetype that you step into once you understand the 3 steps to relationship success. And this is the outcome when you work with me in the Mind Heart Method to save your marriage in 90 days or to create a loving and satisfying relationship. So the characteristics that you embody when you are the authentic leader is that you're heart-led. You have a vision. It's not that you no longer feel fear, but you don't avoid your emotions. You are overcoming your fears constantly. And this is what makes you grow. This is what makes you evolve. And this is what makes you step into your full potential as a man. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You're a man that knows himself and you have a purpose beyond survival. So beyond just paying the bills, beyond living day to day out of necessity, you have a mission. You have your own mind and you have boundaries. You embody self-trust. You can trust yourself. You naturally feel confident in yourself. You take responsibility for yourself and sometimes for others as well. And most importantly, you have compassion. You have love, you have empathy for your wife and for the people you're leading. So I assume if you are here, if you're watching this masterclass, this is compassion and love is something you already embody in relation to the woman in your life. So a woman's response to you, your wife will be open and responsive to sex. She feels strength and safety from you. She trusts your lead. She's relaxed, happy, and fun. She takes responsibility for herself. She's supportive, devoted, warm, and loving towards you. When you step into the authentic leader, you create a balanced dynamic. And this is what goes on in relationships. Your relationship isn't broken. It's simply out of balance when it's at this stage. And stepping into your authentic leadership brings it back into balance. It creates harmony because you're the leader. She feels safe and she can relax. She trusts and values your leadership. It's natural for her to give you the trust, respect, loyalty, and intimacy that you need. And this is how you keep it for life. It's not a trick. It's not a manipulation. It's completely possible when you are embodied in your husband leadership role in the relationship. So, let's go through the 3 steps to relationship success for men. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail in the session. We're going to start with understanding the female psyche, just to help you understand why these steps are so important. So understanding women and what your wife needs from you. Clarifying common male-female misunderstandings. Step 1 of relationship success is creating safety. This involves managing stress and negative emotions. Essentially, this is regulating your nervous system to save your marriage. Step 2, we build on like a house. So we've built the foundation with safety. Next, we need the framework. And this is strength. This is where you learn relationship skills and conflict resolution, creating boundaries for lasting attraction. And step 3 is leadership. Being the leader she chooses to follow. This is the key to keeping personal and professional success in your life. If this resonates with you, please stick around to the end of the masterclass because I'm going to give you the opportunity to claim a complimentary one-to-one session with me. And this is my gift of appreciation to you. So let's start with the female psyche. Understand women and what your wife needs from you. Clarifying common misunderstandings. So, most men aren't taught about the differences between men and women. And even if you've been married for 20 years and you still don't understand your wife, I want to tell you it's not your fault. Women are complicated creatures. And I'm going to take you through a list of 8 differences between men and women, and it's not limited to that, but these are the key differences that cause misunderstandings in relationships. So a woman never says what she means. She will never tell you directly and literally, like a man, what she thinks or feels, or what she wants you to do. This is not because she's trying to manipulate you, or, sometimes it might be, but this is the way that women have been conditioned to do not directly say their needs. This is dangerous for a woman, and she needs your support to do this. She hates making decisions. Look, the truth is we are living in a masculine world, a world that's been made by men for men. So when a woman enters the workplace, or, when she's looking after kids in our modern world, there's a million decisions to be made. When you make decisions as a man, it gives you a testosterone boost. It makes you feel like you're leading. It gives you a happy hormone. But for her, it causes stress to the nervous system. And this is why, as the man, you're the natural leader. And every woman is looking for leadership in her relationship. She also doesn't know what she wants. So it's very unlikely that your wife is going to say, I want leadership, okay? Because women feel their own emotions. They also feel other people's emotions. And we're working on a 28-day cycle. So our hormones are always going up and down like this. So it's very hard for a woman to know what she wants, let alone directly tells you what she wants. This is why it's so important for you as a man to invest in understanding women and understanding relationships. It makes life so much easier. A woman also enjoys tension, okay? So this is why you don't need to be a yes man or to give in to her every demand, because a woman wants boundaries. They want the tension or the energy between you to feel tense, like the strings of a guitar, so you can play beautiful music between each other. She craves to relax, let go, and have fun. So if your wife is not having a little bit of fun with you here and there, if she's not experiencing positive emotions, she will eventually check out. And this is because women are emotional creatures. She's always seeking safety. A woman will test you for safety from the day she meets you till the day you both die, hopefully very happily together. Once you understand women more, you'll be able to pass all her tests, and this will just be a breeze for you. But this is the way that women are currently wired and designed. She copes with stress differently to you. So men and women cope with stress very differently. And this is what causes most of the conflict and most of the issues in relationships. And unfortunately, this is why couples separate who love each other, and couples get divorced, right? Because stress is put onto the relationship, and men and women deal with it differently. So the way that a woman usually deals with stress is to express herself. She'll talk, she'll complain, and a man will take this the wrong way. You'll feel that she is blaming you or that you're not making her happy, where in fact you're actually helping her to resolve her problem by just simply listening to her complaint and helping her release her stress. And finally, a very important one. A woman requires emotional intimacy in order to enjoy sex, okay? As a man, you need sex. It's essential for you, for your health, for your well-being. You need the physical act of sex with a woman. There's a hormonal exchange that's very necessary to you. And in order for you to create that emotional connection, you actually need physical intimacy first. So this is another important reason why understanding women and working on your relationship skills is essential if you want to have a passionate, healthy, and spicy bedroom life for years and years and decades to come. So let's just do a summary before we get into more detail on how to actually fulfill these steps. So the 3 steps to relationship success for men is to first, as a foundation, create safety as a nervous system level. This is dealing with and managing and processing your negative emotions so that you become a safe space for a woman to come into, and where she can give you the love, the nurturing, the intimacy that you need. This is on a nervous system level. After that, you need to show your strength. So this is building confidence to lead her. This is learning relationship skills. This is creating boundaries and conflict resolution. And stage 3 or step 3 is stepping into your husband leadership. This is really the key to your success in your intimate relationship, in your personal relationships, and the key to actually keeping both professional and personal success in the world long term. So step 1 is creating safety, managing stress and negative emotions. Here, this is about regulating your nervous system to save your marriage and create a satisfying relationship. So when my clients work with me in the Mind-Heart Method, creating safety is the first phase. And this is what we call mind mastery, because it involves managing your mind and emotions for clarity and confidence. This is where we dive deep into your mindset, into managing emotions, into alchemizing stress, not just suppressing it, not just dealing with it, but actually using your stress, what we call tension, as a fuel to create more connection in your relationship, to create more success out into the world. As a man, you have a lot of energy. But if you don't know how to manage your emotions and your physical energy, then there's a huge potential for burnout. So here, it's very important to learn happiness tools, meditation, and things that will help you to regulate your nervous system, to process past resentment, even going back to childhood, to get your nervous system out of fight or flight and into your parasympathetic nervous system. Only from this space of safety on a nervous system level and a solid emotional baseline of well-being, can you then step into strength, which is phase 2. This is where it's effective to actually build relationship skills and also learn conflict resolution. Because if you're so overwhelmed, if you're so burnt out, anything that you learn on top will actually create more burnout. And when we create safety, when we create strength, a very important part of it is creating boundaries, and this is what's needed for lasting attraction from your partner. So the way that I do this with my clients in the Mind-Heart Method is a phase that we call heart mastery, okay? Most good fighters, in the masculine world, when a fighter is really good, they say that he has heart, okay? Because courage doesn't come from the mind, okay? That's where our protection mechanisms are, okay? This is where our fears are. But we can only develop true courage and true strength in our heart space. This is where my clients learn relationship skills for authentic magnetism and lasting attraction. Okay, this is where you're going to learn advanced communication skills and handling conflict with integrity. Because if you're in a relationship with no conflict, you're not in a healthy relationship. Men and women are different. We are complementary. We are not the same. So it's only natural there's going to be disagreements. You just don't want disagreements to turn into full-blown arguments. So even if you have a lot of passion in your relationship, if you don't know how to handle conflict with integrity, you will eventually separate and disconnect. So as the man, you're the leader. It's very important that you know how to manage conflict with your wife. This is where you learn skills for conscious relationships so you can create lasting love and connection. These aren't things that have ever been taught by our mother, by our father, at school or at work, or, you're not going to find a lot of this stuff put together online, okay? These are essential tools from deep psychology that you can apply in bite-sized bits. But if you don't have this understanding of women or relationships, it's unlikely that you're going to survive, let alone thrive in a long-term relationship in this modern world. Part of this phase is you're also going to learn emotional intelligence. This is where I teach you a tool. It's specifically for logical men to teach you instant intuition. And this is how you can connect to your wife, and this is how you can make true decisions, how you can problem solve, because as a logical man, you're never going to understand an emotional woman, okay? You're never going to understand her logically and know how to make her happy, how to resolve problems logically. With this tool, you actually get to step into her thoughts and feelings. It's not a magic trick. It's very, very easy and simple, and it just creates so much less conflict, so much more understanding without needing to ever go to couples therapy. She doesn't even have to be involved. So this is what you learn when you learn heart mastery, when you build that courage in your heart, when you're not just operating for the mental space, but also from your heart space. You've got the left brain and the right brain working together. And finally, step 3 is leadership, being the leader she chooses to follow. This is essentially how you save your marriage, how you reconcile, and how you bring in the woman that you desire into your life. It's really the key to keeping personal and professional success. So stage 3 in my mind heart method is life mastery. This is where we put everything together. We're unlocking your unique leadership style and life purpose. This is where you discover your love and relationship blueprints. Every dynamic is unique. Okay, this is where we get your blueprint for intimacy, for communication, how the energy of you and your wife, how the communication and love style go together and fit best. We also get your health and well-being blueprints, because if you can't maintain a healthy body and way of life, it's going to be impossible for you to maintain a healthy relationship. Of course, we go into your leadership, your purpose and prosperity. The key to this is to have a life vision. You need to have a mission. This is what's going to charge you in your masculine energy. You're going to be fully charged. This is when your woman is going to feel you and she's going to stay attracted to you for life as you move towards your vision. We do a really insightful and beautiful process here, and it's called your land of plenty. This is your life vision. This is really, it's like an architect blueprint for your steps in life. This is when you leave the program, you're in a satisfying, happy relationship. You know how to manage your wife. You know how to resolve conflict. You know relationship skills, and you know your way forward. As a man, it's very important for you to have that routine, to have the steps, to not feel confused, and to feel confident in the direction that you're going. Because as the leader in your life and in your relationship, you need to have a vision, you need to have a plan, and you leave the mind heart method when you work with me with this. So I want to share with you, in case this feels a little bit overwhelming and it feels like a lot of work, or even feels a little bit impossible from where you're at, I want to tell you that the authentic leader exists inside of you. Husband leadership is natural to you, okay? This does not involve you trying to fake confidence or trying to be someone else. This simply doesn't work. What I want you to just sit with and remember back to is that it's likely when you first met your wife that you exhibited these characteristics of the authentic leader. Her response to you and your dynamic may have felt very different to what it's like now. This means that you have the power to get her love, respect, desire, and loyalty back, because the man you were in your true essence when you first met her is the man that she chose to follow when she said yes to you, when she said yes to going on a date with you, to intimacy with you, and said yes to marrying you and to having your children, okay? So the man exists inside of you. It's just that what's happened over time with society, stress, pressure, news, and the modern world we live in is that men experiencing a heightened level of stress than they used to. Even though our world is feels safer, we have more safety, we have more abundance, because of social media, the news, all these modern day issues. Stress has actually increased, and the more stress that you pile on top of your nervous system, on top of your relationship, the more disconnect is created. So it's not actually being someone else, it's just taking away the layers to be more of you. And this is what your woman deeply, deeply desires from you. So learning to embody the authentic leader in your relationship again, okay? This is something you know how to do at the core. This is who you essentially are. The solution is to understand your limiting beliefs that cause avoidant behavior in order to rise above them and naturally step into being the leader in your relationship. So all these stresses make us defensive from our partner. They create barriers. And really, I'm going to let you in on a little bit of insight, is that love relationship actually open up our wounds so we can heal. So after what's called the honeymoon phase, especially when you're living with your partner, is that we become vulnerable to the person we love hurting us. And this brings up our limiting beliefs. So unless we're able to recognize them, we will continue to avoid these emotions. And as I mentioned before, avoidance is the killer of relationships and marriages, okay? Because it doesn't allow you to become aware of the problems, of the limiting beliefs, and what's sabotaging them, okay? So essentially, leading works because when you lead, she naturally follows. This operates on a hormonal and subconscious level. When you change, she responds because your nervous system is dominant. I'd recommend having a look at at an article that was written on me and the Mind Heart Method in Valiant CEO. You can Google it or find it on my website. It's how being a good husband has the same 3 principles as being a good leader. And essentially, a good husband deeply cares about his wife, and a good leader deeply cares about the people he's leading. And this is what allows you to make hard decisions from the greater good. It doesn't allow you to succumb to the pitfalls of people pleasing or wife pleasing, or do things just to get validation, okay, or to be liked, or not to create ruffles in the air. So being a good husband is essentially being a good leader, and this is what a woman deeply desires and deeply craves in a relationship with a man. So I hope that everything I've shared has given you something, right? And just listening to content opens you up, but really I want you to apply these steps to relationship success in your life. If you are in a position in your relationship where, your relationship is in danger, where you're in crisis, or, even the intimacy has died, there's no connection, there's no spark, you're not feeling satisfied, and your wife's really not feeling satisfied, I want to tell you it's an emergency, okay? And I'm here to support you, to help you save your marriage and create a satisfying relationship. When you work with me, as long as I have spoken to you and I letting you know that I can guarantee results. The Mind Heart Method works in 90 days to save your relationship. And essentially what we do is I practically take you through all these phases. Phase 1 is mind mastery. This is where you develop and you build safety within your nervous system and you create safety in your relationship. On top of that, we're building the next step, which is phase 2, heart mastery, developing strength, learning relationship skills, developing the strength and the skills to lead her. And phase 3 is life mastership. This is when you step into your leadership, your vision. This is when you're charged in your masculine energy, and your wife is hooked to you for life, okay? Because you're passionate, you're charged, and you're leading. This is what a woman needs from you. This is what she's attracted to in you. So if your wife is called divorce or separation, or she just seems like she's emotionally checked out, you are lacking husband leadership. And this is not something to be ashamed of. It's not your fault. It's likely, you are a leader out in the world. You're a man's man. You are in your masculine energy and you're a good man. It's just that this is not something that has been taught. And when you're living domestic life with a woman with children, it tends to drop your male hormones. So this is something that takes initiative, okay? And I'm here to support you. It's not something you have to do alone. I've worked with hundreds of men, so, I've heard every scenario. When you avoid this issue, when you feel like the problem can't be solved, you're destined for divorce. You're destined to lose the woman that you love, and there really is no hope. But when you address this issue, the same as you would address if you had a plumbing issue, or an accounting issue, or an issue out at work or in the world, is you would call a specialist. You would seek specialized knowledge and support to solve the problem if it was important to you. So if you are interested in working with me in the Mind Heart Method, and the content has resonated with you, I want to give you a bit more detail on what you learn, what happens with me, and how you actually save your marriage. So over 90 days, you're going to understand your woman's true communication and love style and how it fits with yours, so that you can create polarity for connection, passion, and lifelong love. You'll uncover the root cause of avoidance and self-sabotage so that you can let go of your fears and move forward with confidence. You're able to let go of resentment and bring back the attraction and playfulness in your relationship so that it feels exciting, warm, and ever evolving, like a fine wine that gets better with time. You're going to learn how to create security in your relationship so that she's able to let go and fully trust you, giving you the freedom and confidence you need as a man. You'll rebuild your relationship so that it becomes your lifelong vehicle for love, growth, and support, so that you can go out in the world and fulfill your true purpose and full potential as a man. And your relationship is truly your vehicle for growth and success in the world when you know how to step into your masculine leadership. So my gift of appreciation to you, I'm inviting you to claim your complimentary introductory call with me, but only if everything that I've said has resonated with you and it's striking some chords. And if your relationship is a priority in your life in the next 3 to 6 months, or even, if you're a little bit uncertain, if your wife is satisfied or not, because women usually consider divorce or think about divorce at least a year before they call it. And this is often a shock to men. So it's something that I would urge you to do if you're here, because if you're here, it's likely that part of you senses that there is a problem. So in our introductory call, I'm going to help you to diagnose the relationship problem. If we can't diagnose the root cause of the problem, we can't solve it. The next step is to provide a framework and practical steps to a solution. Okay, this is essentially the bridge to get your desired result. This is going to start to alleviate stress. It's going to start to alleviate avoidance and get you back on track. Clarity is guaranteed at the end of this session with me. So there should be a link down below in the comments to claim your session. It will direct you to a questionnaire. Simply fill out the short form and it will lead you to a booking link. Spots are limited and for a limited time only. If you're viewing this and you don't see the link, you can just jump on the Mind Heart Method website, mindheartmethod.com. On the first page, you're going to see an introductory session link. You can click on the link, and I want you just to type in masterclass where it says to put your name, so just next to your name, so I can approve your introductory session, okay? Thank you so much for joining me today. I so appreciate you for taking this step, for having the courage to not avoid the issue, okay? To invest in yourself, your emotions, your relationship, and saving your marriage. If you have any feedback for me, if you found this valuable, I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me on social media. I'm a real human. I talk to men all the time. The best way to access me is on LinkedIn under Sasha Fedorovsky. You can also access me at my Instagram page mind_heart_method, or you can jump on the website and have a look around, read the case studies, and learn more about what I do. Once again, it was a pleasure to do this for you. This is my purpose, it's my passion, and I look forward to seeing you on the introductory session.